goofing around.
Sitting here shooting the shit here.
Grab your seat, light it up, let's unwind. Kevin and Kerr bringing topics of all kinds, from cigars to sports, family and more. Everyday stories you'll want to explore. So take a puff or ponder away. Join the talk, it's the highlight of your day. Puff and ponder where the sparks ignite. Conversations blazing day or night. Tune in now, let the stories take flight. It's the Puff and Ponder podcast, where we get it right. From fast cars to last night's game, family laughs or today's big name. We've got the topics, we've got the vibe. Stay tuned in and enjoy the ride. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate. Oh, hesitate.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Puff and Ponder podcast, where conversations ignite. I'm your host, Kevin Shahan, and joining me as always, my co-host, Kerr Viajante. We're screwing around. Now we're going to adjust our cameras, our seats, and
hey, man. You know, is this? I noticed I had a little drop there.
Yeah, and then I know. I mean, it's amazing how excited when we were talking. We were on another page. We were looking. I knew we had like 3 minutes to go. We were looking for like 30 seconds, and you're like, "It's time." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like, you know, it's just it's the same thing. I'll put something in the oven or the microwave for a couple of minutes, come back in the office, and then go back in, and my alarm's been going off for 5 minutes. I'm like, wait, what? You know,
I looked up at 6:57. And like you said, 30 seconds left. I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, you know, but if you stand in front of that microwave, like a minute and a half will take 12 minutes.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
God, what are you lighting up, Kerr?
A shout out to our boy Matty Booth. This is the 15th anniversary.
The 15th, right on. And then shout out to our boy Pete Johnson Tatuaje. I'm lighting up a Cabai Guan. This is one of the ones I bought when they that Cigars and Pipes, whatever website, had that 50% off going out of business sale. God, I got a box of these. I got 4 boxes of the 10th anniversary Tuxla, which the box I had already had was already going to last me for 2 years. I guarantee I'll be smoking those Tuxlas for the next 5 years.
I was aware of your purchases because when we hopped on, it was so obvious. It was almost like Kevin sold out. Kevin sold out. Kevin sold out.
Oh yeah, it was. But I went through yesterday and I created my finally did a walk-in humidor tour video.
Yeah,
what's going on, Jay? I know Jason watched it.
I haven't had a chance to see that yet.
Yeah, and it was just been it's been a long time coming. People keep asking. The humidor has been a disaster area. So I didn't have anything to do. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a couple of hours, clean and straighten the humidor, kind of get things in order, which now it's nice. But then, you know, it's like one of those things when you're like cleaning out your garage or something to have a garage sale or Goodwill. And you're like, ooh, where'd this come from? You know? And so you set it aside, you know, like I'm going to keep that. And then, next thing I know, I had a tray of cigars, like 30 cigars. Ooh, I'm going to set this aside. I got to smoke this right away. And then after all that's done, I'm like, Oh, that's a lot of cigars. So
And all the ones that you set aside, oh, I got to smoke this. You probably had taken all those cigars, put them back in a tray, and then said, I'm gonna hide it.
I put about half of them away, and then the other half I put on a shelf up front, so they're kind of front and center to remind me of what's going on. And RJ, yeah, on the I don't know, nobody knows anything really about it yet. Like how big the factory was. AJ has,
I saw it. Yeah.
I don't know how many, like when people say factory, sometimes they think of one building. I know a lot of these places like Drew Estate, like they have a factory, but their factory is 12 buildings, so I'm assuming AJ's the same way. They have
compound.
It's compound is the factory, so hopefully it was hopefully that's the case. And it was just, one building, and that was it. You never hope for anything, but you always hope for the absolute best, best outcome of that.
Yeah, fuck.
Oh, you're very welcome, brother.
Now it's like fucking, one fire. If you're making cigars for someone else, and if they happen to be there, that's like,
down in the DR, there's a box factory that went up, and and a lot of people down there, use multiple companies, so they're able to pivot. At least not quickly, but they're able to pivot. But Abe Flores with PDR, I read in that article, everything he makes is from that one factory.
Yeah,
all of his boxes, all of his bands, everything is stored in one place, and it's just like, wow, that's brutal, because now you have your artwork, your plates, just everything, and then like, as you have boxes done, when you have to go, it's hard enough to find a place that will let you work. And then now you're coming in like a PDR, you got to pivot and like, oh, hey, I need 500,000 bands. I need, 10, 20, 30,000 boxes. And those factories were already at capacity.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little.
It's not like you could get. It's not like insurance is going to cover it.
Not down there. No.
Nope. No. And that's the thing. It's not only not down there, but to even get insurance here on anything tobacco related, it's probably freaking an arm and a leg, and you're like, well, I can't afford that. I can't do that. And then something like this happens, and like,
especially a lot of these smaller places, which are just converted homes that were built 100 years ago. They were added on to 70 years ago, 60 years ago, 50 years ago, when it's just, let's just run this extension cord through the wall to power this, this next outlet.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
It's early in the show. We got anything to talk about with our sponsor, with Jerky?
We're actually not with JerkyGent anymore. We're with.
I see. Look, this is what I'm not informed. Your artwork on the Kevin is like this buff, broad-shouldered, freaking pink glasses, pink little bill, like freaking looks like a really good cartoon character view. And mine looks like it was like you ran it through an app that was like, hey, make Kerr look like a silly fat fuck. And then I got this freaking, Jack Black looking, whatever movie, Jumanji looking guy who doesn't even look like I'm in the same cartoon like variant as you. Your cartoon variant is like super cool anime, and mine is like Scooby-Doo bad guy. Like they're gonna rip the freaking mask off and be like, there's a guy who. So I'm like.
That's our goal at PCA this year, is to button down one of our photographer buddies that's going to be there. There's going to be I'm going to ask like 2 or 3 of them. I'm like, hey, can you get a good, separately photos clean that we can cut out, where we look halfway cool. And then, we got to do.
You're not even the same variant. I swear to God, I look like I'm getting ready to walk on the set of Scooby-Doo and be like, hey, you freaking pesky kids.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Get out of my rib shop.
Oh my God. But the Puff and Ponder podcast is brought to you by Simpler Hair and Beard Color. I use it. So should you. I've been partners with Simpler Hair and Beard Color now for 5 or 6 years. Great company. It's the easiest way to refresh your look in minutes. No mixing, no mess, just natural looking color that blends seamlessly into your hair or beard. It's gentle, hassle-free, and designed for guys who like to keep it simple, look younger, feel more confident, fast. And you'll notice I do have some grays in there. Jessica won't let me use the regular Simpler Hair and Beard Color. They have a new salt and pepper that keeps some of your grays, does a little bit of color, so it looks a little bit more natural. I think she wants. Yeah, she doesn't want me looking younger. She was. We were at the Whiskey Fest, and someone had said something about, and I kind of felt because they're like, hey, boy, Jessica's right next to me. Kevin, you're looking good. You're looking thin. And it's just, and Jessica's like, yeah, he's losing all the fucking weight and I'm not, and it's just like, I'm like, bro, why the fuck would you say that? You're like, oh, Kevin, you're looking so thin. And it's great to see you, Jessica. It's
filter, man. Get that, as George Costanza or Steinfeld would say, you have that little man in your head. He filters the word. And people like that is the George Costanza who says that my little man's an idiot. You've got to filter that stuff out. You say, hey, gosh, and you know what? The funny part is it's like a hand grenade. They just drop it and walk away. And then you're like, oh, shit. What am I going to do with this freaking?
Yeah, luckily just start talking about something else and change the subject.
Ooh, boy.
But
yeah.
And I know she's trying. She's we're eating a lot more clean. I'm not even gonna go into her because that'll just
stop.
Whatever I say will just come back and bite me in the fucking ass.
All you gotta do is just say the person who complimented you was completely over, just wrong and stupid and that's
I did have to. So I did reach out to Abe because Jessica was sick for like 3 weeks in a row. She got that nasty bug, and of course she hasn't set her insurance up yet. And then finally reached out to Abe, and I'm like, hey, she needs to get insurance so she can get to the doctor, and she still hasn't set that up yet. So I sent an email to her the admin today over there at Smoke Inn, and I'm like, hey, can you not tell Jessica I contacted you? Can you reach out to her and tell her it's mandatory she sets it up? So like a couple hours later, I had to run out some errands, come back, and she's like, oh, she goes, did you talk to Abe about the health insurance? I go, no. And she goes, oh, weird, because what's her name contacted me and getting it all set up. And I wasn't lying. I didn't contact Abe. I just contacted the person in charge of the insurance.
Insurance? No, what? Who? What?
Yeah. Insurance? Wait, what? So now it'll be up to me to push her into going to see, getting caught up on all her. So I got a bunch of doctors coming up. I got my knee. I got my because I'm battling issues with my knee again, severe issues. I got my yearly physical. I got my dermatologist. All of this before we leave for PCA in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I got all my appointments after we get back.
Okay.
And I mean, I missed last week, and we didn't have the show last week. I was knocked on my butt. Actually, it's funny is I had no other symptoms. No other symptoms.
Just the diarrhea, eh? That's kind of weird.
Horrible for like 5 days straight.
Yeah, what'd you think after two? What'd you think after 2 days? Like it was gonna go away?
3 a.m. on Friday, it hit me. And then I thought, okay, well, it could be just, what I ate last night, because Jen had made some Mediterranean thing. And I'm like, yeah, and I've been doing a lot of stress, it's been a little stressful with work and stuff. So I thought maybe it was that. Saturday rolls around and I'm like, okay, well, maybe a little stomach bug, but I'm like, I don't have a fever, I don't have chills, I don't feel sick, nausea, nothing, absolutely nothing. Since Sunday, I'm like, okay, this is getting a little old. I'm getting a little sick of this, shit, no pun intended. And I was like, okay, I started getting a little concerned, and I can't remember if it was Sunday or Monday. That's when I was like, I think it was Monday when Jen came home from the doctors or from work, and I said, we got to go to emergency room. We got to go. I said, I got to figure out what the hell's going on. Went to the emergency room. That was a hot mess. That was just like, dude, the health. I'm not a big regular going to the doctors kind of guy. I'm pretty healthy, overall, et cetera, et cetera. But boy, the health industry, gosh, it's filled with some real fucking idiots. It just is. I mean, I sat in the emergency room for a couple of hours, and all they did was just give me an IV bag and do a freaking blood test. They should have ordered a CAT scan for my stomach, especially for what was going on. Nope. So next day, I scheduled an appointment and went in to see doctor. The office has like a rotating nurse practitioner who takes immediate calls. It's almost like having their own urgent care within their own practice.
Okay.
So we were there, and that was funny. That was actually pretty funny because Jen came with me, and Jen with how she is and was with Joseph, she's like the biggest advocate. So if you ever want someone who's going to advocate for you and your health and just beat down the provider that's in front of you, take Jen with you.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Oh yeah. Yeah. She was, they were going back and forth about a CAT scan, and Jen's just like, nah, I'm not leaving without the order. Well, I think it's, it doesn't matter. And she's like, well, it's his decision. I'm like, yeah, I don't want the order. And it was, and then we went, they did the CAT scan, and then I had to do I do stool samples, stuff like that, which is not fun at all.
Yeah. Now, to back up, what's the difference really between a CAT scan, a PET scan, and an MRI? I know the MRI uses a big magnet, but
yeah. Well, they all do, but CAT scan uses cats.
Okay.
CAT scan uses cats.
Yeah.
An MRI. Jen could probably give you the more intricate details of the difference between a CAT scan. She'll probably comment on here. Jennifer, come on. I know you're fucking watching. The difference between a CAT scan and MRI and a
PET scan.
PET scan, yeah. Well, no, PET scan, they use PET scans where they inject you with
is that the radioactive stuff that they do?
Well, and CAT scan too, but what they do is like with PET scans, like a CAT scan, if they scan your body and they could see if you had, for example, any issues going on, right? Like my dad, you go through there, you can see if you have cancer. A PET scan, they inject you, and what they inject you with actually attaches itself to the cancer cells, and then it can tell you exactly where everything's located. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then I know MRI, does the like the layer, I don't know, but yeah, because I'm gonna have my doctor order and that's what I was wondering, either an MRI or a CAT on my shoulders. Like
right.
I'm having a real tough time with my shoulders. Of 20 years of being a mechanic has really taken its toll on my shoulders.
There you go. PET scan is radioactive glucose that attaches to cancer cells. So that's what it is.
Okay.
It's a glucose that attaches itself to cancer cells.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
So at least with the stool sample was good. You just scoop it up, just
dude, it was a lot of pouring. It was just like a lot of pouring right in there, because it wasn't a lot going on there. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a comical visit, especially when they started asking me to describe the color of my stool. So CAT scan is a 3D X-ray, is very fast rate. Use contrast orally and IV to see organs better. Yes.
Oh, okay. So more for organs. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But we're sitting there, and it's like the nurse practitioner's here, Jen's next to me, and they're like, "What color is your stool?" And I'm like, I said, "It's like gray. It's like gray." And Jen next to me goes, "Yeah, clay." And nurse practitioner goes, "What, like red?" And I'm like, "No, there's no blood in my stool. It's gray." And she goes, "Gray?" And Jen goes, "Yeah, like clay." And she goes, "Oh, what, like a rust, like brownish color?" And I'm like, "No, it's gray." And Jen goes, "Yeah, clay." And I'm like,
she just said
clay.
Yeah, modeling clay.
And then it's and then the other
when
one's
you say clay, you'd think of Georgia clay,
like terracotta. And I'm like, yeah. I said it's gray, like like this chair, like right here, gray. It's without color. Here's Jen. MRI is a 3D magnet to see muscles, nerves, bones, blah, 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 blah. And then, then she said it's acholic, which is basically without bile. It's without color. And I think she threw the girl for a loop because she had no idea. A nurse practitioner had no idea. She's like, acholic? And Jen's like, yes. Without bile, no color, gray. And I'm like, gray, quit using the word clay, damn it. So at some point, I felt like a little 8-year-old sitting there listening to my mom argue with the doctor. But we got the CAT scan. They scanned everything.
Thank you, Bones.
Good as new. Well, not good as new. They ruled out everything. All my stool samples came back negative. And it's probably just a virus. It was just a virus. But it was one of those things that just or bacteria possibly that wasn't on one of the bacteria that they were testing. But I can't tell you, Kev. I literally that's all I had was that diarrhea. I had no other symptoms. I wasn't even like tired. The one thing is, coming out of it, I haven't had coffee in over a week.
Oh man.
And I found that in the morning, I have more energy. I have more energy throughout the day and in the evening. So I haven't, even now, I could drink coffee to this morning and I won't. I feel so much better in the morning when I don't drink coffee. I come downstairs, I do my probiotic, I do a multivitamin, and I do my Metamucil. And I come out here with a big old thing of water, and that's what I drink.
Yeah, I've been feeling pretty good lately. I added I did like a month-long dive into magnesium because they say, like the most important mineral or whatever that your body needs, works in over 300 different processes. So found so much information. So actually feeling a little bit better. So I don't know, maybe it's working, maybe it's not,
Yeah, Jennifer said she told me this too. She said, I'd rather feel like crap than give up coffee. And I'm like, what?
We were having a talk with this down at the Great Smoke. We're down there with like Fred Rui and those guys were talking, like they said they can't, a lot of them as they get older, they can't drink as much milk or dairy anymore.
Yeah.
Gives them tummy. I'm like, if every time I drank a glass of milk, I got diarrhea, I would still drink milk. That's how much I love milk. So I'm with Jen, I'd rather feel like crap than give up my milk.
I love milk, and I used to drink a lot of milk years, like back in the day, a lot. Like my mom would have, I'd probably go through a gallon, in under a week, and I just start cutting it out slowly, and even now with dairy products, I really don't have a lot of dairy unless Jennifer will put cheese in something that she's making, maybe cheese on a sandwich, but other than that, I don't consume a lot of dairy.
I don't anymore. It reminds me, I've got I gotta make a note. I got some yogurt in there, but I'm every now and then I'll eat yogurt for a couple of months. I always take a cheese stick to work with me, and then I have like a 20-ounce glass of milk every night before bed. So
yeah, no, it's crazy. And I think my elimination of dairy products was not intentional. It was just, it just happened over time. I went from whole milk to all the way down to skim milk. And I drank a lot of, I drink skim milk, and then, Jennifer's like, there's not going to be an ounce of skim milk in this house, so we do 2% milk. And probably at the most, any milk I would do is I'd put a splash of milk in my coffee to cool it off, or maybe to break the acidity a little bit. But other than that, the only, like I said, the only dairy I ever had was maybe we'd have some ice cream at night, and even then I would kind of feel a little off with my stomach. But I didn't stop any dairy because I was experiencing any type of health issues or GI disturbance. I just stopped it. It just happened to be, just happened to be the over time, just the process. But I'm glad we were able to talk for a good solid 10 minutes about my non-solid bowel movements.
Anytime. It has been years since I had a cane Daytona. I used to smoke a lot of them. no reason I stopped. I haven't even had anybody ask about that or even think about,
King
Kane.
Daytona?
Yeah, the Daytona by Kane Cigars. And I'm assuming there's still, if I remember right, it was an STG company, like one of the big guys. But I used to love that cigar, yeah, no reason that I don't smoke it now. I just, don't come across it.
What's funny about Kane, that brand is this, it's a solid cigar. And if I got it in like my like a club, or someone had one, I smoked it. Fantastic cigar. But when I go in the humidor, I just never think about it. I don't know why.
Kane is made by Oliva Cigars. So okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for some reason I thought that they were their own, which they could have been at one time. Who knows? Could have been their own.
Wasn't Kane the one that what's his name was connected with? Sam Stogiebird.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sam. That was
Sam Lucia.
Sam Lucia. Yeah, he was with that was his
that was
his
his
project,
blend, right?
Yeah. Now that you say that, yes, and then it got bought, and then there was the whole big issue with
it's a solid cigar. I mean, I've always enjoyed it, but like I said, it's just sometimes when I go in the humidor, I'm always looking for anything new that you kind of bypass some of the old faithfuls, are the ones that I've never had an issue with and always been good cigars.
Oh yeah, for sure. I get that. I have my when you watch my humidor tour video, you'll see my mystery box, which is just a crate like 4 feet long by a foot high, a foot deep, and just filled with probably 400 or 500 random cigars, that don't have their own tray. And I was getting nervous because it was actually funny. It was I'd mentioned this to Jessica about a month ago. Like that box was I could see the bottom finally. Like it was, it was capped off at one time, and over the last year of just really year and a half of just digging through there and just smoking cigar after cigar, I got to see the bottom. Like, oh God, I'm gonna have to, because those are my whatever cigars. Like, when you have your first one or two, you want something you really love, and then throughout the day, those are just go through. And luckily we've hit some events and with some good manufacturer friends of ours, and then over the last month, we've piled on another couple hundred back in there. So now I'm feeling comfortable again. It's good. Like when we, you go up to, like, we were at Big Smoke Whiskey Fest, and you get your ticket for like one cigar. And then, we'd get in line, and it's awkward because you get in line and it's a friend of yours. And then you're like, one cigar, please, sir, hand them your ticket. And they always like, get the fuck out of here. They take the ticket and then give us like 5 or 6 cigars each, and then of course the people behind us are like, what the hell is this? And
what's been your best gem that you found in there that was a surprise and was a solid cigar?
I've been telling everybody the Hoya de not Hoya, Romeo y Julieta Reserva Real, their new Midnight, which is it's not really a barber pole. It's got like one of those thin, like the CAO America. It's got like that thin little wrap on there. I have been smoking the crap out of those cigars. They are so good.
Yeah.
I found one buried, like a month or two ago. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And then I got like a Cigar of the Month Club from Abe, and it had one in it. And then I must have picked some up somewhere else. And then I found 4 or 5 more buried in that tray. And I've just been smoking them one after another. And God, they're so good. Then of course I'll come across a GTO or lots of others. I had some Crux cigars I come across, Casey Hogan, great cigars. So just been finding some gems. I've also found some real dog rockets as well, and it's I've had ashtrays full of 5-inch cigars that, because I'm not one, I've been smoking cigars long enough to know when it's not going to get better. Same with you.
Yeah.
You know, if you're 10 minutes in and you're struggling either with construction or it's not tasting good, like it's off, you just know this isn't going to get better.
No,
You know,
no,
I'm not going to fuck around for an hour with this and then just get so pissed off. You know, I'm like, let's end it here and move on.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, those. There's been a couple. It's like there's been a lot of cigars that I've given probably a little bit too much time.
Yeah,
than I should have along the way, and always end up regretting it. But yeah, it's it sounds like you have more good cigars than bad.
Yeah, you know, and the disappointing one lately is H. Upman. I love H. Upman, like the banker.
Mm-hmm.
Great cigar. The last 4 I've smoked, and they're from different places, different venues, and one from a Cigar of the Month club. So it's not like I got a bad box or anything. I haven't had a good one. And like I said, my last 4 have just been 10 minutes in.
Or taste?
But both, you know, won't stay lit, you know, tunneling, construction issues, tasting bad. And I'm like, oh, this is disappointing. You know, I really like this cigar, you know, so, you know,
yeah,
but
it's unfortunate, man. I mean, especially like if you're getting them from multiple places like that, you also got to take in consideration the way that they're being kept. You know, are they being kept properly? But, you know, especially when you, especially when the flavor's off.
Yeah.
You know. So have you been watching? Are you a basketball guy? Have you been watching any NCAA tournament?
I have not. I'm not a basketball person. I just can't. I can't. I watch the highlights, you know, and that's about it. I'm not big into basketball. I just can't.
No, I was years ago. Like when I was in high school, I was really big into it. And then, you know, I've actually gone to a Sweet 16 and an Elite 8 game when I was working in pharmaceuticals because they had tickets because we had season tickets at the venue in Philadelphia. Going live is freaking great. I mean, that was like, you know, that was fucking awesome. But I really don't get into it. It's been so long where, you know, you have a lot of those people at work that are like, hey, we got a bracket. You gonna do a bracket this year? It's only $5. You know, you can win 500. And I'm like, listen, I don't even have the time to fill out a bracket. I just don't even care.
Yeah, with 32 picks, I'm like, yeah, no. I did see Warren Buffett finally gave out his $1 million. So he's always had the bracket for the NCAA March Madness for the employees of Berkshire Hathaway for like, I don't know how long. And he's always offered $1 million prize to whatever employee gets a perfect bracket. This year, it wasn't a perfect bracket. It was like 30 teams or something. He like narrowed it. He like made it a little easier. And his comment was, I want to give out $1 million before I die, you know? So yeah. So
some of the upsets in the first round, you would have never picked. I mean, I just know of those because we're in South Carolina, and when McNeese beats Clemson, you kind of hear about it. McNeese is ranked what 16th, 17th, or something like that, or 10th, and Clemson was in the top 5, you know, it's you hear that, but. Auburn and Florida are playing each other, and Duke and Houston.
Oh, really?
That's the Final 4. Yeah,
man,
that's the Final 4. I was surprised. I mean, North Carolina is always up there, but they got knocked out in the first round. I guess they don't really have a good squad. Duke and North Carolina are a real big rivalry. They're huge basketball.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, massive. So it's
always like North Carolina, Duke, UConn. You know, it's always those, you know, those same. Okay,
Florida always has a good squad. I see Maryland made it pretty far. When was the last time
all 4 number 1 seeds made the Final 4? I don't know. Is that the way it is now?
All one.
Oh.
Yep. Auburn, Florida, they're all number 1.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. That's a you know. That's the way you want it, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, that's with your rankings, that's kind of what you would expect along the way, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Florida barely beat UConn. I mean, again,
Yeah.
I mean that's UConn's a solid squad. Michigan State's always put together a good squad, and
Michigan. What didn't Michigan make it into the to the Elite Eight, or was it or
they,
maybe this week?
they got knocked out by Auburn, and then Auburn knocked out Michigan State.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Michigan's always had a good squad. Michigan State, but yeah, they both got knocked out. Bama got knocked out by Duke. They always put up a good squad in basketball. The one that I was kind of wondering about was Gonzaga. They're kind of like that team that everyone got all excited about years ago, and they've kind of stepped back into the into the darkness over the last couple of years. They beat Georgia, but then they got knocked out by Houston in the second round. We had a couple of teams from this area. You got Robert Morris. We had Wolford. They're all South Carolina. In and or around this area. Clemson. But yeah, it's all number one ranked teams are in the Final Four.
Oh, right on.
That's crazy.
That is nuts, but should be for a good. So some good games in. A lot of money on that line because we were in Vegas last year during for PCA, and it was March Madness, and it was just and all the Ubers had the surcharge on there for March Madness. Like every ride had like an $8 surcharge just because of March Madness. Mm-hmm. So it was like $8 just to get in, and then it was just a what a racket that is. So, but good thing we won't be there. So, hey, I do want to give I do want to give a shout out. But we were talking about being sick, and I know he's never going to watch this, but I'm gonna cut this out and then send it to him, and maybe he'll see it. Martin Cove played John Kreese in Karate Kid. So So I got to meet him at the Red Meat Lovers Club dinner, and then he was at the Great Smoke. He had his cigar, that he was promoting, but at the dinner, what an amazing guy, just so nice, so friendly, and Fred Rui and we got a chance to talk with him for about a half an hour, just one-on-one, just chatting. Martin was having problems with his humidor. And we were trying to walk through his humidor thing, and then Fred was asking him about the new Cobra. Did you guys watch Cobra Kai?
I watched the first 2 seasons, and then it got a little too a little too poppy. It just got a little too.
So I didn't watch it, just because.
So I saw him come back. Yeah. I mean, that was really it was cool because that's kind of
Yeah, so Jessica loves him. She loves the show, because Fred was asking him questions about it. Mm-hmm. They were talking, and some cool behind the scenes on like writing and how he came back, and it was a really cool in-depth conversation that we got to have with them, and it's just like that was so cool. Then he looked at me and he goes, are you have you seen the series all caught up? And I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't watch it. I go. My wife, Jessica, she's watched every season multiple times. She's all done. She's your biggest fan. And I go, and she's sick as a dog, and she couldn't make it be the first Great Smoke she's missed in 7 years. And he said, get out your phone. And I'm like, all right. So he got out my phone, and then he handed it to Fred, and and then he filmed this amazing 30-second video to Jessica. And it was just the sweetest, nicest thing that that anybody you just didn't expect that. So big shout out Martin Cove so for doing that. You didn't have to do it, and it was super cool.
Did you try and ride that kind act, and but she still won't let you get the gray out of the beard?
Yeah. So but she was
I asked him and he said sure.
Yeah. So super cool. But yeah, it's cool when you get to meet people like that, you know, and it's like when you meet people in the cigar industry, like people you follow, you know, and it's like, oh, you know, he really is as nice as he is online, you know, or you get to meet Steve Saka and you find out, you know, he's just as grumpy as he is online. A buddy of mine, Trey, was there. We went to Boynton Beach Lounge after the Great Smoke, and he came up and me and he goes, Saka, he's a tough cookie, isn't he? And I go, what did he say to you? And he goes, I just went up to him and said, hey, you know, thank you for, you know, making great cigars. You know, I love what you're doing. You know, I smoke a lot of your stuff, and just thank you very much. And he goes, Steve looked at me and goes, yeah, I'm not fucking curing cancer over here. And and Trey didn't know what to say.
Oh my God.
I'm like, that is classic Steve Saka right there.
He's as grumpy as he lets you know he is, you know.
That's it. But once you get in underneath that hard crust, he's not quite as grumpy, you know. So
not quite as grumpy.
Yeah, not quite.
That's hilarious. So what is Martin Cove's cigar?
I don't know. And I forget who's even making this cigar. It's I think the people that were making the
here, Martin Cove. It is the Prodigal Son.
The Prodigal Son, and I think it's the
Paul DeSilvio of Casa Grande Cigars. And
yeah,
Paul, that's right. I thought Sanj had something to do with this.
So
right.
What did that article say? What did you just read off?
Actor Martin Cove comes out with a new cigar, the smoke being made in conjunction with Paul DeSilva of Casa Grande Cigar and Sanj Patel.
And so, okay, so I had heard the same thing at the event that he was, or actually that night beforehand at the dinner, that Sanj Patel had something to do with it. And then at the Great Smoke, Paulie was up on stage with Martin Cove, you know, during the interview with Michael Herklotz. And I'd mentioned it to someone, and he goes, no, he's making it with Paulie, you know, that's why he's up there. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I go, I heard Sanj, and you know, and then I'm like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. So, okay. So from what you read, it's between the two. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's those two.
So, I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know why both, you know, I mean, I'm assuming Sanj is blending it, or maybe Paulie's making some of Sanj's cigars. I don't.
Yeah, I think he does make some of Sanj, but I'm not sure, you know, where that, you know, connection is or that affiliation is with those two. But no, he's it is cool when you meet someone like that and they're down to earth, you know, and they're very friendly, and I'm glad that you had that experience, and also that he made a little video for Jessica. Yeah,
so it was a super cool. And then I think my highlight of that weekend, which it sucked because she couldn't join me, so I definitely didn't have as much fun as I normally would. But I was able to go down there the night before and get to hang out with Nick Melillo for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And I got about an hour of downtime with him, and it was just me, him, and a couple people just chatting and just about all random shit, you know, with Nick. But it was funny. I was up there talking with him. He had his little booth set up, or his little table, you know, slinging the cigars and everything else. And someone walked in and had yelled something. So Nick and I both turned towards the guy walking in, and he comes up and he's like, oh my God, finally I get to meet you in person. So he's walking up to us with his hand out, and then Nick, you know, puts his hand out to shake the guy's hand, walks right past Nick and gives me a big hug. And I'm like, and I just look at Nick, I'm like, oh damn, you know, oh, a little awkward, wasn't it?
Sorry, Nick.
Yeah. So that was the highlight of the whole fucking weekend.
you getting the hug instead of Nick.
Yeah, that's it. And then getting all the dirt and gossip, you know. So you get some of these makers and brokers and reps, and like before the event or after the event, you know, everybody's drinking, smoking some cigars. We have our little table, and that's what I look forward to. And it's like, come on, let's, doesn't
It's
take
like
very long. And then it's like
a bunch of old ladies at bingo, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's all it takes is, hey, did you guys hear about? And I'm like, oh, it's starting. And then for the next 3 hours, you just hear all of the gossip, all of this. And then it's just like, oh, is that what happened? Oh, is that what happened? Oh, that's why he got fired, and it was just all of that.
You gotta be careful about that, because I know with my previous associate, it was like a daily gossip session. It was just like, I just would get sick of it. I'm like, I don't care who did what to who and this, that, the other thing. There's always one thing they always leave out, is the dirt about themselves. The dirt about themselves that's out there. And there's plenty of it. So I was like, but I do get where you're coming from. It is comical, because it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much. Little couple of truth serum, and then the next thing you know, it starts going. And if you have enough truth serum in yourself, then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was great. Thank you, RJ. I definitely appreciate it. We try and respond back to as many people as we can, but there are days it gets, it gets tough, and next thing you know, you miss a comment because you got, 80 that day, or miss a message. So I did see
your Tech Tip Sunday on boats.
Yeah. Boats and trailers and small engines.
You said something that cracked me up. It was like, you start talking about boats, you're like, well, if I had a boat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, this guy's piece of crap boat better than my boat. I don't have a boat.
Yeah, that's what you said. Better than my boat. Yeah. I don't have a boat. So I got a question for you about that, because you brought up something really interesting. I think it harkens back to our conversation that we had a while back when I asked you, what are you an expert on? And of course, when trying to ask you questions about things, you kind of always circle the drain, which is always fun. But there is one thing that you did pinpoint is your knowledge of tires. That's the one thing that you did say that you are an expert on. While you gave us a full explanation on what you know a lot of, but expert tires, which is great. But you did mention how every tire, just not boat battery, it's just not boat tires, but every tire loses 10% of its weight capacity every year.
Trailer tires.
Okay. So why is that?
I have not
sitting on the rack.
I have not been able to get an explanation from anybody. And of course, I can't find an engineer, because at Bridgestone, we don't make those type of tires. So I don't have that avenue to go down. But yeah, I want to know why exactly that is as well. That boat tires, trailer tires, all of that, they're still radial tires because they're not bias ply anymore, right. but they're not, I know they don't have as thick as sidewalls. They don't use as many cords and plies, but I kind of want to know that too. Sitting on a shelf, 10% of its load carrying capability disappears every year. So, a tire that's 5 years old, that looks brand new, it's been sitting on a shelf, as 50% of its load carrying capability is gone, so, I don't understand that, so, I definitely need to, really get a hold of an engineer or someone at a company that makes, that type of tire, and find out what exactly it is that deteriorates over time.
Why have you yet to ask Chat GPT?
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. That was probably a good one.
So Chat GPT says over time the rubber compounds in tires begin to break down, even if the tire isn't heavily used. So here they're talking about the use of, like, exposure to heat, oxygen, all this stuff, blah blah blah. Aging degrades naturally as they age. The chemical changes in the tire material can cause a reduction in structural integrity. So the internal layers of the tire may also lose strength as they age, meaning that they can no longer support as much weight. And as tires age, they do lose their flexibility, which affects the ability to distribute and absorb the weight. So the loss of flexibility means that they can no longer efficiently handle the same load, which leads to that reduced performance. And they also talk about, the tire construction is the way it's built, internal cords, ply, rating,
and like
more of a chemical change in a tire. Seems to be
they're built inexpensively. Like when you take a trailer tire, like a really, really good trailer tire might cost you $100 versus, a cheap car tire can be $150, so trailer tires are made cheaply. So it makes sense. They're not putting a whole lot of technology, into these small trailer and boat tires and things like that. Once you get up to like the bigger, boat tires, like the 16-inch, those tires can be $200 to $300 a piece. Those are definitely a lot nicer of a tire, but the majority of tires out there are those small, you've seen them, those little 13-inch, 14-inch tires. That's a majority of everything down there. Get them on Amazon for $35. So not a lot of technology, not a lot of carbon black in those. In that tire.
So someone did ask earlier, when was the last time that when was the last time that all 4 teams that made the Final Four were all ranked number 1? And the last time was 2008.
Really? 2008?
North Carolina, Kansas, Memphis, and UCLA. And that's the other team I was trying to think of that's always been a big powerhouse of basketball, UCLA.
Yeah.
So that was the last time all 4 teams that made the Final Four were all ranked number 1. And Memphis went on to play Kansas, and Kansas went on to defeat them in overtime.
Oh, right on.
That's been 2008, man. It's been a minute.
That's been a minute for sure. So
yeah. I mean that's pretty. I mean, and you think with having all, I mean, there's a great deal of talent. You always have the opportunity, the possibility of upsets, which is why, seeing the way that they ran the college football bracket this year, which was, I'm glad they did it. You would think that would occur more often than not when you have number 1 ranked teams. And I'm also wondering with this whole NIL and the payment of players, how much that's going to impact. Because I saw an interview with that, and it was pretty interesting on the watering down of talent and the production of powerhouses, where these kids are coming out of high school and they're just some of them to go to a college are getting paid 6-7 figures.
Yeah,
right out of high school. A lot of them aren't even going into pros because they made enough money when they were in college.
That's the one benefit of NIL is these kids are staying in college. So a lot of them are actually finishing college and getting a degree. We just had an Ohio State last year. It was his last year, but he was 7th year in college, and he graduated as a doctor and got his PhD. And he has no plans on going to the NFL at all. So he wants to pursue a college, but he didn't make a lot of NIL money, but he made enough to make a sizable dent in his because he wasn't a full ride, but so he's going to graduate college, be a doctor, not have that much student debt, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, but if you're getting paid that kind of money, there's no reason. We talked about this before. There's no reason why a college should be giving you a full ride. They should be giving that to another student.
Yeah. If you're getting NIL equal or greater to the value of your scholarship, you should lose your scholarship, and it should 100%. It should go to someone else. Now I know this year that we got new changes coming on this year that they're giving away more scholarships.
So it's bad because a lot of it's being funded by donors and everything else, and that's really where it's going to come. It's the amount that's going to be spent is going to be worse. It's going to be higher.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Cause now, it's just, it's going to be nuts, this year. So, yeah, who knows where it'll all go, will they try and, you win and then, you're, potential first round pick, but it's like, oh, do I stay in college for another year? I can be guaranteed some more money and playing time. And,
well, I mean, I understand the whole doctorate earlier, but when I first heard that someone stayed in school for 7 years, I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
I bet you they are, you're getting money from Nike, Gatorade, all these different sponsors, but then now you're going to start dipping from a pool of money, which back in the day was illegal, when donors would pay off players to come to school. It was like, no, we had in our neighborhood where I grew up. I don't know if you remember Sam Bowie.
No.
Sam Bowie played at Kentucky, great basketball player. Sam Bowie's claim to fame was that he was selected in the draft before Michael Jordan.
Oh, okay.
So, and he had a he had a career in the NBA, and he grew up in our neighborhood. He was about my brother's age. Everybody knew each other, small town, super nice guy. But his parents didn't. They were blue collar workers. They worked and when he signed that dotted line to Kentucky, his dad's driving a brand new car.
Yeah,
and I don't think he got a brand new car working where he was working. So, back then it was, hell, freaking, who was it? Where'd Eric Dickerson go to school? Oh God, SMU. SMU was like, they got the, for all that was going on there. I mean, they were, they got the death sentence back in the day. They couldn't play in a bowl game or anything for years.
Yeah,
and
back
now
when back Reggie Bush and everything, that whole big controversy, that was all back then as well too.
Yeah, Brian Bosworth talked about, he got paid all this shit ton of money for his job, and his job was just to sit and watch an oil rig.
Yeah.
So now it's legal now. And that's where that type of money is going to be filtered into a pool, and they're just going to be dishing out money. And that's where you're going to see bigger schools that have very well-to-do alumni. They're going to be able to afford a bankroll for some of these colleges.
Yeah, we get in our area here in the next town over, Venice, Florida, not Venice, California. But we always have like every other year we always win the national or the state championship. Great football team, high school football team. Every now and then we get some controversy down here, and because it's against the law to move to an area just for your child to play sports in that area. So same thing. Like a parent, will get a job, at the local whatever, of just sitting there, not doing anything. And it's like, did they pay your kid? They buy you this house, not even happens on the high school level, of, recruiting players in to get championships when, you get a school that's got some money and some prestige. So, but yeah, it happens. Yeah.
I mean, they said that your team, your school, Ohio State University, its athletes have gotten more than 1,000 NIL deals since July 1st of 2021, and it's up from 600, and it's worth about $3 million at the 6.
And you think about that, and it's like it's nothing. $3 million. I mean, it's something to those kids, But I mean, when you got Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, when those schools are bringing in $1 billion a year, the sports programs, so it's like, oh, they paid out, in total, like they said last year, Ohio State spent $25 million in the portal, a little drop 100%. In that little bucket of what they bring in.
Yeah. And plus, they filter in, like I saw earlier when I was skimming through an article. Colorado State, you got a guy like Deion Sanders that comes out there, big name, big personality, has the program doing well. They're getting major money from Nike and Gatorade. Major money.
Oh yeah. Now is he staying or leaving?
No idea.
Okay.
I didn't think about that. I mean, there's a couple of interesting things that I've been kind of wanting to keep in touch with, keep an eye on. And I did see that Justin Fields, the quarterback from Chicago, did sign with the Jets, but I'm curious on where what's his face is going to go. Aaron Rodgers and then Deion Sanders.
Aaron Rodgers signed with the Dolphins.
Did he sign with the Dolphins?
Yeah, he signed with the Dolphins the other day.
Really? Because I thought I read was it last night or the night before that he was still up in the air, that he met with Tomlin over at Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah, it was all over the Dolphins Instagram, or several of the Dolphins Instagram pages. The fan pages. Then I saw it on Facebook. He signed with the Miami Dolphins. Dan Marino has come back, and I don't know if he's taken a partial ownership role, but I think he took a partial ownership role in the Dolphins. So he's coming back for day to day. And then a couple of players from way back in the day are coming on to the coaching staff as either coaching or advising. So, the Dolphins are,
I don't think Deion's going anywhere. I just read that he landed a 5-year, $54 million extension.
Oh, okay. So there was rumors that,
Yeah, I think he's safe. I think he's going to be in Colorado for a bit.
Oh yeah. Now, do you know who this is? Cooper Flagg? I don't know who Cooper Flagg is.
Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, the only Cooper I know is Cooper. Is it Cooper Manning? I don't know who Cooper Flagg is.
Why do I know that name? Kevin? I can't see anything about him signing with the Dolphins, dude.
Yeah, we got Bailey also here. Yeah, he signed with the Dolphins.
Cooper Flagg's basketball. He's from Duke.
Oh, okay.
He's Duke.
Oh, okay.
Forward. It's Flagg's NIL valuation sits at a cool $4.8 million. That's probably what he's talking about. So there you go.
Yeah,
I mean, it helps too when people are buying your jersey, and because that's the whole thing is the near image and likeness, is the NIL, and I get and I understand that you have, but I think it's always part of the gig, man. If you go to Kevin Shahan goes to the Ohio State University. And you're a standout quarterback, and you're number 10, and they're selling the shit out of number 10 jerseys, and everybody's got all this shit with Shahan written all over it, and they're making money on it. Well, you're getting the opportunity to play for your premier organization that's getting you eyes on you for the NFL draft, and you're getting a free education. Kind of goes with the territory,
Oh yeah, and
that's the way I've always kind of looked at it. Maybe I'm old school. I don't know.
Oh yeah, and it looks like it must have been a fake news article because it's looking like Aaron Rodgers is going to go to the Steelers.
I read that the Steelers. I read that the Minnesota Vikings were a serious contender as well. Adam Schefter, thought he. I remember he reported that he thought he was going to go to the Vikings. Like I said, it was 2 days ago. Or maybe it was yesterday, I read that he had a really good meeting with Mike Tomlin with Pittsburgh. So I think he'll end up in Pittsburgh. I don't think he's going to go to Minnesota.
I think he just needs to pack it in. He's had a good run. Now he's bouncing around, and he's just going to end up. I don't know, just not a joke, but just like hanging on to, what are you hanging on to, guy? Just I
think this is the year that he's going to determine whether he's got another couple of years in him, because he came off of a serious injury, and then last year he wasn't 100%. He wasn't.
Yeah.
I remember Kurt Warner talking about this. Kurt Warner really fucked up his thumb when he was with the Rams, and just afterwards, and really struggled and came back and just played horribly. And he said he had to sit out for a full year to really properly heal. And then that's when you saw him kind of get a second wind in Arizona.
Yeah.
He almost took him to a second. He almost took him to a Super Bowl. Almost won a second.
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But when you have a serious injury like that and you're older, and both those guys, I mean, I think Kurt Warner was probably in his late 30s when he injured his thumb. And you get serious injuries like that, and you really bust your butt to come back and play for the team the following year, because at that point the clock is ticking. It's not like you're 21 or 20 and you blew out you tore your Achilles tendon. I mean, you're 39, whatever he was, 38. I mean, you really bust your butt to get back in the starting lineup the next year. And at that point, you're just kind of knocking off the rest. So I think this is the year. If he goes to Pittsburgh, this is the year it's going to be okay. Aaron, if you have a really good season, then maybe it's worth another year or two. If you have another bad season, it might be time to hang it up.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm excited for the draft this year, the NFL draft, because you got a lot of teams that their rosters are getting wiped this year. It was the same way like 4 years ago, where like everyone, I know last year was a big one for Michigan, was they lost their entire starting lineup. Like, a couple years before that, Ohio State.
They're getting wiped. I was like, getting white, Kev? What, a lot of white guys being drafted? What are you trying to say, Kev?
So, a couple years before that, Ohio State lost like everybody. But this year, there's a lot of teams that are just losing everybody, So it'll be interesting to see where a lot of these kids
get that money flowing for the portal, baby. That's how you got to do it. You got to put the coins in the coffer. See what's up.
Yeah, a lot of the so the NFL draft will be I haven't heard who's expected number one. If there's any, we'll see.
Well, it's Tennessee. I'm looking here, has the number one draft pick.
Oh yeah, who's that? Tennessee.
And then of course our all favorite Cleveland Browns.
They have the number one. I thought you were talking about the Volunteers had the number one.
No.
The player who expected to go number one.
Tennessee, they have Tennessee. The Titans.
Oh, okay.
They're expected, or they have the number one draft, and then the Browns, the Giants, the Patriots, and then the Jaguars, the Raiders, and then the Jets.
Yeah.
And rounding off the top 10 is Carolina Panthers, the Saints, and the Bears.
Yeah, there's one guy on the Buckeyes team, one of our really good, and I forget who it was because I read it a couple weeks ago. He wants to stay in Ohio, and because he'll be a first rounder, and he wants to go with the Browns to the Bengals. And I'm thinking, I mean, as much as you love Ohio, bro, it's maybe. We haven't done that well, You look at I mean, I guess that the kid on the Bengals, what's his name, Joe Burrow. He's had some good seasons, but I think if he went to a better team, he'd have had a better career. But
they're expecting Cam Ward from Miami to go first. That's one of them.
Oh, is that okay? I was wondering who was Cam Ward is a good player. So
and Abdul Carter, number 2. They're expecting the from Penn State. They're expecting the Browns to take him, and then Travis Hunter from Colorado is going to go to the Giants, and Kevin Banks from Texas, and then Mason Graham from Michigan. There's not an Ohio State player in the top 5.
Oh wow.
No.
So
that's the projected, the predicted.
Yeah, the projected. I think we, I think more, and I think I was reading this last year, like there's been more Ohio State players in the first round every year for like the last 10 years or something. So we do pretty good, I think, in the in the first round. But yeah, then you want to know like who are they going for? Like like, this year it'll be everybody needs a quarterback, but then it'll go a couple of years where nobody wants a fucking quarterback, on their first round. It's like, who do you go with? So
yeah. I mean, it's pretty interesting when you see obviously the quarterback's going to go first, and then you start seeing a lot of defensive players going. I mean, a lot of teams, that's what you're seeing. A lot of these. You watched the season last year. I mean, it's a lot of these folks are in desperate need of good defensive players. They need cornerbacks. They need edge, which is basically a defensive end or a rushing linebacker, whatever you call it. Running backs, wide receivers, but seeing a lot of these defensive players go early on, you could definitely tell that they're either trying to beef up a defense that's just a couple of positions away, or they lost someone big time. They're in desperate need of.
Yeah, I was watching the and I forget where the kid came from, but he's making his NFL debut. Like they show him at like the combine, or show him at wherever he was. The one kid, he's 6'7", like 460 pounds. Making his NFL. Yeah, that is a big. They're gonna slim 100 pounds off that kid.
Oh,
you can't be 6'7" and 450 pounds. I mean, 100%. They're gonna. Yeah, before the season starts, I bet they get 100 pounds off that kid.
I had a buddy of mine played at Temple, and no, he played at Rutgers. He played at Rutgers, and he made it as a walk on the New York Giants, and he made it all the way to the final cuts, 2 or 3 years in a row. But he told me, he's like, in order to compete, you have to stay heavy. And when you go out to camp, it's impossible to stay heavy. Like I would lose 30, 40 pounds like that. You go from 310, 305, and now you're down to 280. And he goes, the coach just comes in, you stand on the scale, they look at the number, they're like, pink slip, goodbye, gone.
Yeah. During those practices, you're. I mean, you played. What are you losing? 10 pounds a day? You
lose a lot of water weight, especially because we didn't have pro football camp. You're out there in the heat. In Delaware when I went to school, it's hot as shit. In the summertime, and we only did 2 a days. They wouldn't even do 3 a days because the evenings were so hot and humid and crap. And there were times when we rare, but we would go out in bottoms, or just tops rather, in the second half of the day because it got that hot. But that was back before they really cared about health issues, so they just ran.
So you weren't wearing pants? You weren't wearing pants?
No, I didn't wear pants at all, Kevin. No, just shorts. We didn't wear like the pads.
Oh, I thought you just go out there in your jock strap and
then It's very cathartic. No, well, normal 2 days you're in full gear, but then sometimes it was very rare when it was hot. You just went out in shoulder pads and helmets, called it uppers, and you wore shorts. But what was really funny is it never stopped them from running the shit out of you, right? It was but back then they just kind of we were getting a lot of folks who were falling over, heat stroke and whatever, heat exhaustion. So they just ran the hose from like the dirty, nasty freaking shed, and the trainers just bought a whole bunch of PVC and just drilled holes in it, and then just freaking attached the hose to it, and that's how we drank water. It was you could get like 5 or 6 guys drinking at once in front of the big freaking PVC pipe.
Yeah, that's it. You're consuming microplastics before it was a thing, Kerr.
Microplastics and Lord knows whatever else the chemicals that they tell you that you shouldn't be drinking.
Well, it's also
PVC pipe.
The chemicals that leach when that PVC pipe is 100 degrees with that. The sun, because the glue holding it together, and
just the pipe itself, man. I mean, we had PVC here. I was making this hook to kind of get to the upper area for our gutters, and putting the heat gun to it to bend it. And I was like, woo, we had to do it outside. I was like, man. So I mean, that's why they guys used to sit there. They would make homemade bongs out of PVC, and they're like, "Dude, you shouldn't be doing that. It's glass.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
shouldn't be making bongs out of PVC. It's not good for you." And they're like, "Oh, what? The weed's already killing my brain cells. What more can this do?"
Yeah,
So
yeah, give you Alzheimer's, cancer. It's
yeah, it's rather comical. I mean, it is, but yeah, that's what they did back in the day. They just threw up they sitting there with some rope and wire and just connect it to the fence, hook up the hose water, and just let us go to town.
yeah. Have a
Because it
salt.
was
Yeah, and you guys lick a salt block or share a salt block and
no, we were in no, but it was funny. Is the one thing we did learn, and kind of funny is they had the big things of Gatorade with ice water, and whoever drank out of those always ended up with heat exhaustion, because when you drink cold water, your stomach contracts and you don't drink as much. So the water coming through the hose water was all room temperature and warmer water, so you drank more of it, which then you're properly hydrated.
Yeah, my problem is here during like the summertime, at the shop, I'll drink anywhere minimum a gallon a day, sometimes up to 2 gallons a day, because we're sweating so much.
Mm-hmm.
I drink less of warm water than I do when it's cold water. I'll drink twice as much
Really
at a sitting, but I don't feel as good afterwards. You get like your stomach like kind of hurts after drinking,
Mm-hmm.
20, 30 ounces of cold water.
Your body
I'll
temperature's up, man.
Yeah. So, but on room temperature water, I don't get that, that feeling, but I just don't drink as much of it.
Yeah. I'll fill. I got 2 of these. I'll fill them both up. In the first one, I'll kind of sip slower because it's colder. But then as the day warms up and they warm up, I'll fire right through them. I'll sit there and chug this down to the bottom. When it's room temperature.
Yeah. And then I have the Gatorade Zero tablets, like the Alka-Seltzer tablets, and that's what I just drop in my bottle and drink those all day. Usually only like 2 by the zero sugar, so just getting the electrolytes without the sugar just adds a little bit of flavor, not much, because I drop a tablet in and drink, way more than the tablet can dissolve. So I don't get a whole bunch of that. So, but on sports, what do you think? What's your opinions on the new bat? The new bat Yankees are using. Dave Portnoy went off yesterday and how they need to outlaw it. And I didn't know Dave Portnoy, like 4 years in college, was like a Golden Glove, winner. And I'm like, what? So yeah, Dave Portnoy was a fucking man, I guess. But he's pissed. So,
I don't follow baseball, but when this article and this news story pops up in Jennifer's, Yankees fan, and they're talking about it, it's like, well, it's not against the rules. There's a lot open for interpretation in the rule book. So they're either going to be like, no more, but if you're jacking that many freaking home runs, I guarantee that they allow it. Next week at this time, we're going to be talking about every other freaking team.
Because it's hard to change the rules on that, because the rules just say, the bat can be no more than like 4.25 inches at its widest point. At its widest point.
Yeah.
So who cares where that widest point is at? What's it make a difference?
I think the other area it says that there was this, I can't remember what it was, but there was the one rule says it's got a taper, and then they said it's got to be smooth and tapered. And someone's like, well, if you smooth, and I was like, well, when you use the word smooth, it doesn't describe where the girth is, or the maximum girth allowed on a bat, and if it doesn't specifically say that there needs to be a maximum girth, at the first 25% of the bat, and then slowly taper to the handle where it can be no more than blah, blah, blah. There's enough wiggle room in there to get it done. But again, it's going to depend on how things go. I mean, if they want more viewers, they want more dingers, then I don't think the MLB is going to say much about it.
That's it. I mean, the gloves have progressed over the years. The ball is the only thing that's really stayed the same, but even the grip tape, like I said, the tape has gotten better over the years where it's stickier. It's not just that rawhide tape that my dad used to wrap his bat with, and,
Right.
So every other aspect has gotten, technology has got its way in there. So why not, why not the bat, so baseball is worried about the length of the games. We all teams using these bats, games will be 5 hours because of all the scoring. Yeah. So
it's interesting. I also think too, I mean, you could argue that back in the day when Babe Ruth and them played that, everything was it was all relative, right? But I think you can't ignore the fact that, they were still athletes. They were still the prime athletes in their time. And when you have some of these records that have been held for so long, it really makes you appreciate just how good they were. And even in today's game, with the technology that they have, it's, you're still talking about records from 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah, we're still not beating those.
80 years ago,
yeah. What is it like every like 5 years? It seems like a single record from 50 years ago, 60 years ago gets broken. Hey, this one finally broke the record, and it's just like, yeah, it's been like, how have we not broken that record yet? It's but yeah, it's so for all, like you said, for all the technology, we're still not breaking the records every single year from those guys.
No, I mean, but when you think about it, I mean, I just literally looked up here's the list of some of the most notable Major League Baseball players and the records, right? Most career hits. Pete Rose still holds that.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that they didn't let him into the Hall of Fame. A shame while he was still alive.
We'll see it. Now, unfortunately, now that he's dead, he'll get in.
Well, yeah, because I think that's just a spiteful thing, if you ask me. Most career home runs.
It was spite to keep him out, and now it's going to be spite to put him in after he dies.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when you take a look at some of these guys who hold these records, most career home runs, Barry Bonds. Most career wins, Cy Young. They have a Cy Young award, and he still holds the record. Most career strikeouts, Nolan Ryan. Mariano Rivera has the most saves. Most consecutive games played is still held by Cal Ripken Jr. And most runs scored is Ricky Henderson. These aren't guys who played like 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, 30 years ago.
Even longer. I mean,
well,
Pete Rose, I mean, shit, he played 70s, 80s, so I guess, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
so, yeah.
I mean, for crying out loud, I mean, seriously, it's, you look at some of these guys, and it's like, most runs batted in. Hank Aaron, highest on base percentage is still Ted Williams. Most steals of home plate, Ty Cobb.
Oh, really? Well, how many has he got? What's the does it say?
54.
54 most steals at home plate.
That drunken, miserable bastard probably just freaking ran over 54 freaking catchers.
Yeah, speaking of plates, I just saw a video yesterday of the 2 first base plates. I don't know if that's college or if that's MLB now. That has 2 first base 2 first bases. Let's see. Is that just
two bases placed side by side?
You have a white. Okay, the double base rule in college.
Okay, so that's to avoid people from stepping on the same base. So now they have the colored bag for the runner, aiming to reduce collisions and promote player safety.
So, but I've seen a few videos because you must immediately get on that white base. So you go, the catcher, the first baseman gets white, you get orange, And then there was one video I saw was the first baseman had the ball, and the runner lifts his foot to slide it over on first, and then the first baseman touches him, like, you're out because you didn't have a foot on either. It was that split second before he slides it over and the runner's out.
Stupid.
So
that's as bad as the glowing puck that Fox tried to do for hockey. Just stupid. Why?
Oh, I remember the glowing puck. How annoying was that? And then they're trying the I know it was in the first game or preseason last year in NFL where they had the chip in the ball to show exactly where it was at. So I haven't heard if they're going to expand that this year to for more first down or better placement of first downs. So we'll see. We'll see if that because there's too many Kerr. I know you've seen it where they pull them chains back and it's like, yeah, no, they didn't make it. Like, wait, what? Like, it's legitly right there. It's like 2 inches over, and then it's just
terrible.
So I'm all for the chip and the football right there.
Yeah,
I want to see that one.
I still can't believe 2 first bases. That's horrible. But I think the one area that, and just looking at some of these records, the one thing that stands out, and I think it has to just do with the way that baseball is coached now, is with pitchers. They do pitching count, they do ball counts, they rotate them out. They'll take they'll take them out, rest them, and they'll bring someone else in. And I'm looking at all these most wins, most no-hitters, strikeouts, shutouts, most starts, most innings pitched. And I'm sitting there looking at these Cy Young, Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver, and I'm like, dude, these guys have been around for a while. I think a lot of those records are never going to be touched just because of the way that they coach now.
On the pitching records, they'll never there's no.
These guys were machines back in the day. I mean, they weren't doing pitching counts with Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, you didn't come out, unless you were way up in the 7th or the 8th. You didn't come out. You played. You got a couple innings because you had to play the next day. But yeah, it's
crazy. And Pete Rose holds a whole bunch of records from most at bats to the most hits to the most games played. I mean, these guys were just Iron Men. They.
Yeah,
you got to watch the video of John Kruk taking a tour of the clubhouse or the locker room in Philadelphia. He comes.
I think you sent me that one.
Did I send that to you? Where he's just like, right there's where Dutch Dalton would be lifting crazily. Over there's where, is it Darren? Was it Darren Dalton? Yeah, Darren Dalton, Dutch. And then there's where Lenny Dykstra would be sitting in around a bunch of towels, just spitting his tobacco juice in the towels, drinking a beer. He's like, here's where I sat, and I had an ashtray screwed to the side of the table here because here's where I would sit and drink beer and smoke cigarettes and keep my elbow in the ice where the beers were.
Oh, it's
Oh my God.
Brutal. They'd show pictures of the old the horse troughs, the metal horse troughs full of ice water. Like, that's what they got. They don't have any of these fancy, spas and everything that chill the water. They literally had a horse trough that they would dump, just buckets of ice into.
It's like you said, Lenny Dykes would be sitting there on a pile of towels, just spitting his tobacco juice and him drinking beer. Mitch Williams, all those guys. That was a crazy crew there who played for the Phillies. That was a crazy crew.
We have our new service manager at work, and he's been there for a couple months. Great guy. Used to be a technician, so we kind of respect him. But he does dip, and every now and then, like, he'll dip in the trash can. Or we have our oil caddies, our oil drains that we drain the oil or whatever differential fluids in. Or if he's next to one, he'll lean over and he'll spit in that. And I had to tell him the other day, I go, you only get one shot. One chance I put my hand in something and I get spit on it, and I go, that's the last time. I go, you're not allowed to dip, while you're at work. And I go, I touch spit, that's your last day, and I'll make sure that you never dip again at work. So he's gone back to his bottle,
Nice.
Put your dip in there. And because we used to have a manager years and years ago. He'd walk out to the shop, he'd just spit right on the ground out in the shop. And same thing. I go, let me bend over racking a car and put my hand in your dip. So
these guys,
yeah,
the whole crew chewed. That was back when they all had the big leaf. Yeah, now everybody's either chewing.
Oh yeah, I can see him spitting in a pile of towels. Yeah.
But back then, I mean, they also would smoke cigarettes in between innings in the freaking hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. That was
elite athletes. Like these guys now, like I said, just they have these regimens. They have personal trainers 24 hours a day. They're watching what they're eating. They're in the greatest of shape, and they can't beat a record from 30 years ago.
30 years ago, where they're freaking. Some of these guys are drinking beers or smoking cigarettes at halftime. Yeah. Like you said, they're smoking, and even the guys. I mean. John Kruk could be like, I'm not an athlete. I'm a freaking baseball player,
Yeah, and that was back in the day. Like I said, like I said, they had summer jobs, during their time off. So they didn't make any money.
All the way back then, yeah. Back in those days, what they would do is they would, if you wanted to sign someone, you would sign them based off of, getting them a good job in the off season.
Yeah.
So it was like, you come here, you play football for us, at the Bears or something like that. On the off season, we got a really good job for you in the factory, so, you could keep your family here. And that's basically, how they would attract a lot of these athletes back in the day. And of course, the owners made tons of money, and got rich off of it. So, that's why they obviously had to go with the players union and stuff. But I mean, you still have a shit ton of records that are still, unreachable, untouchable, whatever you want to say, that are very, very old, to say the least. I mean, to see Cy Young still kind of in a lot of these categories, and you're like, well, don't they have a Cy Young award? So he's been around that long that they named an award after. He's that good that they named an award after him. He played. He was born in 1867, Kev.
Real? Cy Young was born at what?
Yeah.
When did it say when he died?
Last year. No, 1955. He was 88.
Wow.
He played. He began professional baseball in 1890.
Man.
In Canton, Ohio.
Yeah,
he played for the Cleveland Spiders back before they were the Indians. He played with the Spiders from 1890 to 1898.
God, you'll see Babe Ruth every now and then, with a cigar in his mouth. But yeah, not too many with smoking cigars in the dugout. But yeah, 18. God,
here's a team for you. But St. Louis Perfectos.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Back he played for them to 1900, and he was with the Boston Americans until 1908, 1901. I mean, he played till 1911.
Yeah, I see. Did you see J.C. Newman's new cigar paying tribute to the Tampa Smokers, the old baseball team? So,
no.
The band is beautiful. I think it's a 10-count box of Robustos, and then in one you get a cigar shaped like a baseball bat. It's got we saw him rolling it the last time I was there. It's got the little nub on the end, and it looks like a baseball bat. That's the free cigar, or the bonus one.
Oh, that's a pretty cool box, man. Great artwork. A nice old fashioned baseball with a T on it.
Yeah. So yeah, it was paying tribute to the old Tampa Smokers.
That's pretty cool, man.
Baseball team. That was Drew Newman. That was his concept, and wanted to pay homage to the team.
Yeah, there they are, Tampa Smokers, 1947. I mean, it just blows my mind. looking at, not only these pictures and stuff, but looking at these records and going, wow, these guys. When you read that the picture has all these awards, and then you're like, well, let's see, he must have played like in the 30s or 40s. It's like 18. What? We didn't have cars. They were still riding horses when he started playing.
I know. We were having this conversation in a group chat with me, Jessica, and Shirtless Mike. We lost a very dear friend, Miss June, who is 98 years old. Used to come in and Mike's lounge up over there on the Space Coast, and once or twice a week, and smoke cigars and drink whiskey, and just tell stories about how she used to, jump out of airplanes, and she did this and that. And when she passed, last week at 98, heart failure, I was just commenting, I'm like, think of all the things she's seen in her 90. I mean, I told him, I said, she has seen more in her life, and I go, than all three of us combined.
Yeah.
The tech. I mean, yeah, we have computers and smartphones, and we have AI now, but when she was a kid, like, there weren't cars. There weren't, going to the moon. Like, that was like, just the imagination, and George Orwell or H.G. Wells, that was just, something that, you never thought of,
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's a lot, man. It's we were just watching right before I came on hopped on the show. We were watching Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood. And, looking at that was done in 1992.
What?
And yeah, can't believe it, right?
Yeah.
So in that movie, Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman, who we lost this year, both of them born in 1930. They're both 62 in that movie.
Oh, wow.
And Morgan Freeman was 55 years old. So when I watched that movie, I said, well, he's as old as I am. He looked a lot older and a lot wiser, though. I just blown away by looking at that and thinking, Clint's still bebopping around, making movies.
Yeah, he's 97 or so.
He's born in 1930, so he's 95
or 95. So yeah, So,
yeah.
But it's not, and it's a shame how we lost Gene Hackman too. But he was. I mean, at the end there, he was in. If you saw some of the pictures, he was in not bad shape. He was just old as fuck. So I mean, that's just what happens when you.
Everything was deteriorating on him. He looked bad, but he stepped away from the movies and started writing. He started writing books.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Unforgiven is one of my all-time favorites and one of the best Western movies ever I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shows now, a lot of great, things you can see. And again, with all the, CGI and all the ability to make everything, all that stuff is great. But that in 1992, it was just, and it still holds its water today, even against some of these, really solid Western movies and shows. Just a fantastic movie.
Yeah. Absolutely great. And speaking of movies, are you as elated as I am that the new Snow White is bombing in the box office? I'm so happy. I'll
tell you what, happy. I hate whenever they try and take an animated, the animated movie. They try and make it not animated, unanimated. They try and make it real life, and then they just start moving shit around. And then they wonder why they catch shit for it. Personally, I mean, listen, as well as I do. It's like, I don't care, who you have playing what race. It doesn't matter. Put a good story together, get some good actors together, and the movie's going to do well. I mean, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Stop changing shit.
If you start effing around with stuff and you have a very weak script and you're trying to ride on the freaking coattails of the name of what has built the franchise or what has been a big cornerstone of that franchise, and you put out a piece of shit. You have the 7 magical creatures instead of the 7 drawers. You know, you don't hire anybody who is a little person for those roles. You can't expect to do that and just not catch some shit. But again, at the end of the day, put together a good story, make it a good script, and people may come out and go, yeah, I didn't like the fact that this was that, or this person was that race, or this person wasn't a freaking in there, or that was. But you know, it's really good movies, really good story, really good. You know, and I think that other stuff kind of falls to the wayside. I think when you put a shit movie together with a shit script, it just draws that much more attention, because now what they're doing is now they're blaming that for the reason why the movie sucks. And it doesn't suck because of that. It sucks because either the actors or actresses are not good actors or actresses, or at the end of the day, the movie, the storyline, everything was terrible.
Yeah, you know, that's it. You know, I mean, we're used to a story that's been around for 100 years. You know, so I don't like live action remakes. I think they're dumb. But as long as you stick to the original story, you can change characters, but you got to have the story. People got to know what they're going into, because nothing sucks worse than, like when I read a book and then I watch a movie. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute, that didn't happen. Like, why would they change that? Like that was really cool in the book, how that, character progressed or what he did there. It's like, why'd you have to change it? Like, now I can't enjoy the rest of the movie, because I know what was supposed to happen. Same with these remakes. Like, no, that's what was supposed to, Yeah.
I think if you put a good actor in this, a good actor and a good storyline, I think anything else that you mix or match or change around, it's not going to matter that much. When you start, like you said, when you have a storyline, it's been around for a while, and you change too much, or you rewrite the story, or you eliminate the prince, in that story, or something like that. Then everyone is going to start, gravitating towards, the issue. Like, I never read the Reacher books.
Yeah.
But when I saw the movies, I was a big fan. I like Tom Cruise. I think he's a great actor.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is not 6'4", 260 pounds like Reacher, like who they have playing him now. Yeah. But I thought he was in that role and what he did, I thought he was a great actor. I thought, I liked the movies, Yeah,
but, I read dozens of the books. So I was the opposite. It's like, this isn't Jack Reacher,
right.
Just,
because you already had that picture in your mind.
That's it. But I enjoyed the movie because it did, for the most part, there was a couple little things, but when you're condensing a 300, 400, 500 page book, which should be an 8-hour movie, into 2 hours, you got to cut some stuff, so I understand that, but I still enjoyed that movie because the bulk of it stayed true to the storyline of that particular book. So it wasn't horrible.
No. And you see mix and matches like that all the time with actors, actresses, this character was supposed to be male, but now they're female. Or
I know,
like
people are up in arms a little bit, which I can understand. In the new Harry Potter series, Snape is going to be played by like an African American gentleman, and people are and now people are like, they're attacking other people. Like, no, that's not Snape. He and it should be like, oh, because he's a black guy. No, because he was very well described. In the books, and then we had six movies, where the character
kind of laid a precedent.
Kind of made a precedent because that character looked, just like the character was described in the book.
It's Alan Rickman. That's who Snape is.
Yeah, Alan Rickman. Yeah,
Harry Potter.
So now people, people are like, it's like, oh, it's going to be awkward, when Professor Snape comes in and Harry Potter's like, oh, I don't trust this guy for some reason. Oh, don't you, Harry? Why is that? And that's where the conversation is going now. It's
we're gonna cancel Harry Potter. Why? He didn't trust.
Yeah.
He didn't trust Snape. Why? Because he's
And-
his brother. That's the reason why I don't trust him.
That's it. And then
No, it's the way it's written in the book. Really, honestly, folks.
Yeah, and then I just read an article today. John Lithgow, who's playing Dumbledore, he's halfway through the second book. He knows that to get a handle, he's never. Which I mean, yeah, I think he'll do good. He's a great actor, but it's just like, oh, you think they'd ask you that maybe at the audition? Hey, you ever read the books? And I'll get to him.
I'll wrap my head around it later. No, that's actually I didn't know they were doing another rendition.
Oh, it's a TV series.
Oh,
so they're doing so each book is getting an entire season.
Well,
so
maybe
so it
depends on how well it does.
Yeah,
they can screw the fucking pooch on this one. I mean, again, it's gonna be down to your actors and how well they are and how good your storyline is. If it's a good storyline and if it's a good actor, it doesn't matter who's playing Snape. I think after the first couple of seasons, you're going to have all your traditionalists. You're going to have a lot of those folks drop off or never even watch it just because of that reason. Because you're messing with what's been established. Then you're going to have your folks that are like, I'm not going to watch it, but I'm a Harry Potter fan. I think I'll watch it, and then they're going to gravitate to it because if it's a good story, that's what you'll do.
We'll get over it. Like I said, they're going to change a lot of the characters, and as long as the Weasleys are all still redheads, if they were all like blondes or something, I'll be like, this is going to be a bit much here. But at the end of the day, we'll still watch them, and you'll like you said after the first season, you'll never notice that the characters have changed. If you're a fan of the books, the series.
Some of the diehards, it's going to be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
No way. There's no way. I can't watch that. I mean, there's some folks will just go down with the ship just because of that reason. It's here's the way I read it, here's the way it was described, and here's what, like you said, it's not only did you read the books, but then it was reinforced through movies and a very popular series of movies, and now a magical ride in an area wherever it is down in Florida. And it's like, now you're going to take that and be like, okay, we're going to really fuck with you now. We're going to shift some gears. And then we're going to make, the Weasleys are all bald. They're all, like you said, they're all blonde. It's like,
I never read the books. And then we went with a big family trip. There was probably 10, 12 of us. Went to Universal, and everybody wanted to do the Harry Potter world. And I didn't understand a lot of it, but I was intrigued. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool, so we came home, and then I planned another trip for just Jessica and I where, Harry Potter centric, where we, did a lot of cool stuff in there. So we sat down and watched all the movies, and I was hooked right away.
The movies are, I mean, I never read the books either. My ex was a big Harry Potter book reader and would, cover to cover, I watched the movies, and I liked the movies. I think somewhere midway, I got a little kind of like, okay, I get it. I'm sick of the kid. Let's have him fight Voldemort and get it over with. But overall, I mean, the movies were good, really good, well done.
Yep,
good stories, and all around good actors too. I mean, I think they did a good job with them. But I was unaware that they were doing a TV series, and that they're going to be going through the whole controversial, it's changing of characters. It'll be interesting to see how long it'll survive if it does.
Yeah, I think it'll do good. So,
where's it? Who owns Harry Potter? Is that a Disney thing?
Not Disney, because Universal Studios has the rights to like all the land and everything else, and I know she still holds a lot of the creative control. J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's. I think whoever owns Universal Studios, whatever. I mean, I guess it would be Universal. The Universal Group. So
yeah, it's I am. Because I know I got in this conversation the other day about a movie that we watched, and I wanted to share this because it was horribly received in the movie theaters, and it didn't last long in the movie theaters. Warner Brothers. I mean,
Warner Brothers.
It's distributed by Warner Brothers. And it's you know how Marvel has their whole Marvel world, right?
Yeah.
And now since Disney bought, I think it was 20th Century, that's why they could do the Wolverine movie, and that's why they're bringing back the X-Men and and folks like that. But Sony still owns Spider-Man.
Okay.
But they were doing some collabs. So the Spider-Man world, they were they still had some characters that they could do that they had on the docket that they want to make movies. They did Morbius, which was the doctor who turned into a vampire. The movie was okay. It was Jared Leto played in it. But we watched Kraven the Hunter the one night, and that lasted in the movie theaters, I think, just as long as it takes me to go refill my water and come back.
Oh.
Right. It lasted in the rent area for just as long, and then we watched it for free. I think it was on HBO or something, and it was a great flipping movie.
Yeah.
Rated R. It was a rated R movie, lots of violence, but it was well done. It really was. And it was, I think, what they considered to be the last in a series of Spider-Man movies. They'll probably eventually just ship them on over to Marvel and let Spider-Man do his thing.
Yeah.
But they did a great job with the storyline, the actors. All of the negative reviews that I read were a lot of the comic book purists.
Yeah.
But again, for example, right? Comic book purists. Bane is a character in Batman who's like 6'7", 6'10", and 350 pounds. He was played by Tom Hardy, who's 5'9".
Yeah.
220 pounds. He beefed up for it. No one once complained why Bane wasn't a 6'7", 350 pound guy, because it was a great story, and Tom Hardy's a freaking awesome actor.
Oh yeah.
Again, no one complained about it at all. So I thought if you get a chance, check it out. Kraven the Hunter. I thought it was a really good movie. Very underrated. Very, very underrated. I usually don't listen to and read the critics' reviews and stuff, but it was well done, and it was a good action packed, good pace, good acting, and a good storyline too.
Yeah, we got some good ones coming out this summer. We've got a Final Destination Bloodlines is coming out. Looks fantastic. You got
sweet Jesus.
What's his name? Freddy Krueger.
Is there another Freddy movie coming out?
There's another Freddy, and I can't
Robert
think
Englund?
of Robert Englund, who said he would never come back because he's old and he can't move. He's like, I can't, I can't do anything anymore.
Did you see the remake? Did you see the remake of it?
Yeah, it kind of sucked, but
it was terrible.
I still watch it because it's Freddy.
Right. I told Jennifer, I said, if you slap on Jason in a hockey mask or Freddy Krueger, I've been invested. I've been invested since the 80s.
Yeah,
Like one of the first movies that my brother had taken me to was Friday the 13th 3 in 3D.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm vested.
See, that's weird because one of my first movies I've ever seen was Jaws 3 in 3D.
Really?
So it's kind of weird. We both our first movies were 3D
one
movies.
Of the first movies. Actually, the first movie I remember seeing was Star Wars, the original Star Wars. And then I remember us going to see, it's funny, is you said Jaws 3, we went to go see Jaws 2 in the movie theaters. And it was that packed that I sat on my dad's lap.
Yeah.
Which, ain't nothing like bringing a freaking 8-year-old kid or a 7-year-old kid to go watch a shark eating people. Thanks, Mom and Dad. That's not going to be too traumatizing for me. But the Freddy Krueger movie was done by his name's Jackie Earl. I'm looking up. He played in oh god, what movie was that? Oh god, The Watchmen. You ever see Watchmen?
No, I know of it, but I didn't.
Yeah,
see it.
Good movie. But he played in Watchmen. He played a couple. He's a great actor. He's a fantastic actor. But he's like 5 foot nothing, right? He probably weighs about $130, and they did such a great job of making him look like a burn victim because Freddy Krueger was burned to death.
Yeah.
That you looked like you were getting chased by a 5'6", 110-pound burn victim.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not scared.
Yeah.
You know, like Robert Englund, his voice, the makeup, it was kind of like he looked burnt, but almost looked demonic. He was 6'1", 6'2", whatever he is. He kind of had a little bit of humor to him. This guy who played the remake of Freddy Krueger, there was nothing scary about it at all. At all.
Yeah,
it was laughable.
Yeah, the trailer for the new Friday the 13th looks like they got a good story going.
Friday the 13th?
Yeah, the new one coming out in July. So
is there a new one coming out in July?
Or no, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay, Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, you kind of screwed me up there for a little bit because it was...
So but it's been a hot minute. They do need a new Friday the 13th. It's been a few years. So
they did a Friday the 13th remake of kind of like the not the original when he didn't wear the hockey mask, but it was like the Friday the 13th was, I think it was actually number 3 was when he got the hockey mask.
Yeah.
Right. So they redid the movie, like I think it was like late 2018, 2019.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
It's not bad. I mean, it's just a remake of it. That's all it is. Like watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake.
Yeah.
But I'm tired. I watched Jason X, where Jason goes to outer space and gets freaking meshed with metal. I'm damn skippy. I watched Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah. I'm
in.
Yeah.
I'm in for Freddy Krueger 2025.
That's it. Same here.
I'm in. I'm trying to. I am curious on who's going to be in it. And if Robert Englund's in it, like, how's he going to do it? Is he going to voice the guy?
No, I mean, well, it said, in the preview, because there's only one shot in the trailer I saw which actually showed Freddy Krueger from like a little bit of a distance, and it said Robert Englund, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Robert Englund said he wasn't coming back because he was too old to do the character again.
Right. Yeah. That is crazy. He is old though, isn't he?
He is old, unless it's going to be one of those things that we're going to see a lot less of Freddy. It's like, because like I said, at his age, he cannot do the stunts. He's going to definitely have a stunt double. Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, for crying out loud, I mean, the dude's got to be in his 70s, right?
Easily.
He's born in 47.
Yeah.
How does that make him, Kevin? Click your mathematician. That makes him 70, right?
Yes, 70?
70 or 68.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
All right. He's 68-year-old freaking Freddy. Hey, listen, I just saw freaking Clint Eastwood at 62 freaking play cowboy. So.
Yeah.
I don't think 78. 78.
Oh, 70. Yeah.
78.
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
He looks old. He's starting to look like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think on that note, we'll call it. We got next week's show, and then we can do a show before PCA too. Yeah, we're not leaving till Thursday, so we'll probably just miss that. Yeah, we'll definitely miss the show after PCA, so 3 weeks from now. And then we'll probably, maybe I can set something up. We'll do a post PCA. We'll get with a couple guys and come on and talk about, how what everybody thought of it. So I'll try.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to PCA this year. I think it's we're gonna have a blast. Have a good old time.
Yeah, definitely gonna be fun. We at least got a full day. We got all Friday to venture out in New Orleans. I think we have a tatuaje breakfast in the morning, and then I don't think anything is going on during the day. I mean, probably some parties at night, so we'll get to explore New Orleans for a day and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So
I have to look up this Freddy Krueger movie, because after you told me that Aaron Rodgers was drafted was picked up by Miami, I can't trust you anymore, Kevin.
Yeah. It's good. So look that up. Look up the new Final Destination Bloodlines. That's a good trailer as well. So
I watched the first couple of them and then I just stopped, man. I was like, you know what? I get a little wishy-washy and hinky about that whole freaking, like, you know.
So we had a right. I can't think of the name of the song offhand. God, but we always had a rule in the shop.
John Denver song.
Is it the John Denver song? Because that's the song that always played when someone died. So
the first one, yeah.
So when we were working in the other shop in Sarasota, the rule was when that song came on the radio, all of us stopped working. We all got out from underneath the cars we were working on, and we all just stood there until the song was over. Nobody would be underneath of a car when that song was playing, or we wouldn't have our hands in an engine. Everybody stopped working.
Rocky Mountain High. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado.
Yeah, and it didn't come on every day, but every other day or so we'd hear it, and then shop would shut down for 3 minutes.
Man.
You know,
I love John Denver, man. He made some fantastic, freaking beautiful music. But after I watched that movie, every time I hear it, I was like, bloop, I'd turn it off too, because it was like, because I don't like flying to begin with, and that whole movie's talking about, you know, the whole airplane crash and stuff, and I'm like, you know, So now it was like, at that point, it had been for a good time afterwards. I'm like, so if I start getting this feeling, or if I have a bad dream, then maybe I'm kind of like them, and I gotta avoid.
I have never thought of playing that while I'm sitting on the plane, like before we take off. Where you gotta take. I should next time, because there's gonna be one person, just one, other than me, that's gonna hear that song and he'd be like, "Hey, fuck's going on?
Turn it off.
Yeah, turn it off. Turn it off, bro." You know, I'll turn that volume way up, and someone will get it.
you know, Kevin, real quick before we go, the reason I think the one movie, I can't remember which one it was, that turned me off was the Final Destination, and it was I think it was when they were at a car race, like an auto
the NASCAR, that car scene where they got hit by the tire. That was pretty cool.
It was, but that was a really bad acting, very bad, like storyline. Like it was. I got halfway through it, and I'm like, is this really what Final Destination's become? Like the first movie was great acting. Even the second one was freaking. That's the one with the logs.
Yeah.
From the log.
Oh,
we have logging facilities around here, and when I would be on the road and I'd get behind one of those log trucks on the back roads going to Augusta, Georgia, I'd shit my pants. And even to this day, my sister and I'll be like, "Oh, look, Final Destination. There'd be a freaking log truck."
I freak Jessica out because I'll get right up on his bumper. She'd be like, "I'm not fucking around, Kevin. Change fucking lanes." And I would get right up on it. But that was the first, the only movie series I've ever seen to where the last one, because you always want more in a series. You know, like when you get 3, 4, 5 movies, sometimes they'll end it. It'll be dumb. Freddy versus Jason, that was great. Jason's walking to the lake. To go back into the lake, he's got Freddy's head in his hand. That was a great scene. It was just fantastic. Like they could never
have made open up, and he starts laughing because he's still alive.
Yeah, they could never have made another one, and I was happy with that. The last Final Destination, the last 30 seconds of the movie, I was cheering.
Oh, and you were saying tied back into the first one,
all the way. So that was so those are 2 movies to where like those were great endings for like the series. It's like, oh, it was so cool. But yeah, when Freddy opens his eyes and starts laughing, that was great.
There is some cheesy moments in that movie, but it's like, you know what, I tough through the cheese. But yeah, that ending was great. And I remember you talking about that. But I guess I'll have to watch that Final Destination since it ties back to the first one.
Yeah, and then this one, Bloodlines, I don't know what this one's about. I think this is, a final one. I don't know. It's like everybody in a family dies because they shouldn't have been there. Because I think it goes all the way back to the very first one, of the plane. But yeah, so we'll see.
Is it going to be is it a movie?
The movie. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure because I know some of the movies are starting to make it a series now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
So
All
right on.
Well,
Sorry,
yeah.
everybody. Thanks for coming on. As usual, spending a couple hours of your Monday with us. So oh look, Chad, you could at
Hey,
least
Chad.
join us at the end. So all right, we'll see everybody next Monday night.
Yep. See you.